This is a Glassbox Media podcast.
All right. I feel like it's been a minute since we've been together because we took last week off and put the best of up, which if you guys haven't listened to that, man, take that stroll
So
through
good.
memory lane with us because it's amazing.
And our sound quality, it's so much better.
Ah.
Oh my God.
God, do
Yeah.
you guys miss recording in person?
I really do. I really do. Yeah.
So much.
I had an email chain from my band actually because they're trying to figure out like if and when we can start rehearsing again. I'm like, absolutely not anytime soon. Thanks. Bye. Like,
Right.
Yeah, I get it. We all are so ready to return to normal life. Like, we all want to, but not doing it until it's safe. Simply not. Not just safe for me, but
Yep.
safe for everybody else around me.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, so speaking of being in quarantine, something that we never talk or think about ever. Did you guys hear that Tiffany Haddish and Common are together? And that they're quarantining
What?
together?
I love
No.
this.
Isn't that the
I
most
love
amazing
this.
thing you've ever heard? I'm so happy.
Wait. Wow.
I want to be friends.
Yes, me too. I don't remember when the last time was that I was this excited about somebody else's relationship. I'm like, oh, I love that for you. I really hope it works.
Right?
Oh my God, she's so funny too, and he's so like smart and talented. And he's funny too.
Yes,
So,
yeah. And I
yeah.
love Common. I do. I think that he is great. And I guess they went on a virtual date using the Bumble app. Like, that's how it started.
way.
And then they, like, hit it off and started quarantining, like, social isolating together, like, in the beginning of this whole thing. And I'm like, oh, I fucking
Wow.
love
Holy
it.
shit.
I think that quarantine has accelerated a lot of relationships that
100.
like maybe were like, you know, in the beginning stages, but then if you do choose to like quarantine together, you're in quarantine together.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Like, you're in a relationship now. You may not have been before, but settle in.
Right. Yeah, here we are.
Buckle up because you got months of
Mhm.
learning who that person is.
And not being able to really get away too, where it's just like
Yeah.
before, if you needed to like go take a shit in the beginning of your relationship, you'd be like, I'm gonna go home or whatever. Like you're not doing that now. Sorry. Like,
No. No,
You're
full
stuck
on,
together.
full on smelling farts. Yeah, exactly. And being excited to go to Home Depot. That is.
I know. Anthony's actually gonna wait for me, I think. So we might go to Home Depot together. And I am actually excited. I've been thinking about replanting my tomato plant like all week. I'm like, when will I have the time?
This is who we are now.
This is life now. Yeah, it's just like, got to take little joys where you can find them.
Yeah. Well, I'm taking joy from our Facebook group has been posting some bangers lately. And the one that's really been spinning in my mind is there is a male that lives on this planet that think that women pee from their clit.
Mm.
Okay, and here's the thing about this. One, I don't think he's alone in that, sadly,
Oh
because
my
our sex
God.
education in this country sucks, as we've talked about before. And two, being wrong about something, even if it's something that is seemingly as stupid and obvious as that, I don't want to shame like that you were wrong about it. What I'm going to shame is that you acted
Is
like
his
a
reaction.
little bitch about it once your girlfriend was like, no, that's dumb. Of course we don't pee from our clit. He broke up with her because she made him feel stupid.
What?
He broke up with her.
What?
So she wrote
Yeah.
a Reddit post about this, and she's like, "Am I the asshole for saying like she didn't even really call him an idiot? She was just like." This idea is idiotic, essentially. And he left pissed off. And then she wrote later, she's like, update. Well, he
Update.
broke up with me, so.
Wow.
Wow.
Fragile.
I mean,
I think-
Wow.
yeah.
There's somebody else that posted too. Oh, what was it? I had to look it up, but I guess there's like a whole thing about like guys like being like wrong about anatomy or something. Oh, I had to find it now. I think Leah posted it and it was just brilliant. I was like, well, there goes my productivity for the day because I'm going to have to look at all of these things. But yeah, just like people, it's almost like that conspiracy theory shit where I'm like, I get really interested in people's crazy ass ideas. It's fascinating to me because I'm like, why do you think that?
I mean,
Where did that come from?
it's okay to be wrong, but if only I had the confidence to just say it with my chest out like that. You know what I mean? Where he's like, yeah, girls pee from their clit. I'm like, wow, that's bold of you to speak
Super bold.
authoritatively on something you have absolutely no real knowledge of, clearly.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to
Oh
know
my
where
God.
he heard that. Was it just like a group of guys getting together and they were like, dude, where do you think girls pee from?
That's what it is. It's JC actually posted it, and it's an Instagram account called Where Does the Pee Come Out?
Well, you
Oh
know
my
what? I
God.
had heard dudes think that
Oh my God.
I've never heard clit, okay? I've never heard clit before, but I have heard dudes who think that women pee from the same hole, like they have to take their tampon out to pee.
Yes, I've heard
Okay.
that too.
I've heard that one.
So wait a second. Okay, can I have a conversation about this?
Yes.
Because I 100% have to take my tampon out to pee.
what? Why?
Because it gets wet.
Well, I mean, yes, but
Okay.
it's not
the string,
because it's the
string
same
does.
hole. Yeah.
Right.
No, my whole tampon gets wet if I pee. I think it's just mine are so close together. I don't know. Anatomy's weird. And I know that I don't pee out of my hole that babies come out of. but I cannot pee with a tampon in. We can fucking delete all this if you want to, but I can't. I have to fucking take a tampon out.
No,
if I'm gonna
I
pee.
say we leave it in as long as you're comfortable leaving it in because this is a conversation.
So here's the thing. Okay. So, all right. People are going to get to know way too much about me in a second, which is that I have a very shallow vagina. In fact, I can only wear, even it doesn't matter how bad my flow is, I have to wear like the smallest
No.
tampon ever or it like pushes out.
I feel so bad.
I'm
for you.
serious.
Then you have to change
Is that
it,
weird?
like,
It's
every,
weird. Oh my
like,
God.
30
Every time.
minutes.
I go through so many fucking tampons. Heaven forbid I drink too much on a day.
Wow.
Okay, so that is weird. All right,
No, it's
guys,
not
I'm
weird.
weird.
It's not like
It's not
bodies are different, and everybody has different bodies, and like you know, that's all fine. It isn't something that I'd heard before, but regardless, I want to get a group of men together, all ranging in age from maybe like 18 to 45, and I want them to draw me a picture of what they think a woman's vagina looks like. And
Mhm.
what they think everything is for, because there's this idea that women that they fuck in the same hole that they pee in the same hole that they like do everything else
Urethra
in,
is
and
not
I'm like,
that big.
yeah, and like we're not flatworms.
yeah. Do you think women have one hole that everything comes out of?
Wait, you guys don't poop out of your vagina too?
Oh, okay. Hold on. Pause. Because we also need to have a conversation about the thing that was posted in our Facebook group about the guy going off about women's assholes and vaginas being too close to each other and how it's a physical
God.
flaw.
Okay.
I'm just like, oh my God.
Did you guys
Buddy.
see that one?
Yes.
No.
And I was like,
Man.
eye roll.
So this
100%.
dude posted, and I sometimes the way the internet is set up now, I have a really hard time knowing if something is satire or if someone is being serious. Like I genuinely don't know. And like that's how I feel about this post because he posted it and he's just like, you know what? No one ever talks about that women's assholes and vagina holes are too close together, and this is a physical flaw. So anytime a woman starts getting uppity with you, just remember that her asshole is too close to her vagina.
Okay.
It came off super incel to me.
Super.
I got incel vibes like red pill 100.
Me
from
too. But do you
that
think he's
dude,
being
where I was just
serious,
like,
or do you
ugh.
think that's a
I do.
Joke.
Brain hurts.
I think he's being serious. I think he's
My
being
brain
a
hurts.
fucking weirdo, like incel kind of thing. Because there was some language in there, like you said, it was like anytime a woman tries to get like uppity with me, you know, I just think that, and that makes her disgusting or whatever. And I'm like, ew.
Somebody
Like-
has some real serious, deep-seated shit going on.
Yeah,
For that.
Exactly.
Oh my God, you guys, my brain hurts.
people are dumb. That's the
Also-
lesson I've learned on the internet. People are dumb.
I'm today years old learning that not everybody has to take their fucking tampon out to pee.
no, I
feel
typically
real
don't.
weird about this.
I typically don't.
Me either. My vagina is not the shallow end. It's the deep end of the pool. So
I feel like everything in my body sits super low in that area. It's weird.
no, I mean, no, it's not, dude. I watch a lot of porn. Vaginas look different. There's vagina for every. There's a dog for every Beth. There's a vagina for every woman. And they're all different, and we don't pee out of our clits.
And
That
they're
is something
all
We do not.
nobody
beautiful.
does.
That's a fact.
Everyone's
I
vagina
do-
is beautiful.
But it is a solid fact that we do not pee out of our fucking
That is.
clits.
Yeah, so if you take anything away from this episode, it's that we do
This
not
lesson.
pee out of our clits. Our urethra and our vagina are not the same.
We're separate.
Somebody commented, I think, on that thing where they were like, this guy I was dating like started aggressively rubbing my urethra.
Urethra. Yes. And I was like, I literally,
No.
my vagina like like
Shriveled
like,
right up.
because I've had that. Have
That
you
fucking
ever?
hurts.
Oh my God. The amount of inexperienced men that I have let touch my vagina, and oh my God, they
It's
just
not right.
rub around down there all willy
And
nilly.
sometimes really hard too, where you're like,
Really
why
hard.
are you pushing so hard? Are you trying to break it?
That's not how you turn it on. That's not how you turn it on.
They're like, smash that button, and I'm like, I wish you wouldn't.
I know. You're not playing Street Fighter with my vagina. Stop it.
That's the wrong button.
This isn't some sort of like combo that you need
He's
to
like
do.
A B left right, A B left right, A B left right.
No, ma'am.
X X X X X X X.
That's not how
Oh my
this
God,
works.
though. It's like bringing just a flood of memories back, dude. Some people's idea of foreplay. I mean, that's part of the
Street Fighter foreplay. That's the name of this episode.
Street Fighter foreplay. But no, that's part of it. Like sometimes like you get lucky and you meet somebody or you start dating and your foreplay styles link up because everybody's gets off in a different way, and sometimes
True.
you don't have to be like explicit, like story time with Christina on how to touch my vagina, like you know what I mean. But oh my God, I remember. But you know when you're like 18, 19 or whatever, and God, how many fucking inexperienced people are just like, when
Ugh.
is this going to be over? Like,
Well, and I
am
get it.
ashamed to say I
Everyone-
faked.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But I mean, and I also understand because I'm like, look, everyone has to learn. Nobody comes out the gate knowing exactly what to do. And I understand that. And again, that's kind of why in the beginning of talking about this, I was like, it's okay to be wrong about something. It's okay to not know something.
Yeah.
Because likely that wasn't your fault. It's like we have a shitty sex education system here. And a lot of actual sex, it's like you're not going to learn it from watching porn. You're going to learn it from like doing it and probably doing it wrong for a while.
Yeah.
And like that shit's fine. It's just like you can't act like a little asshole about it if you are wrong. You know, or if somebody
you know what?
kind
It's
of
so true.
tells you that they like something different.
Yeah.
It's so true what you said though about like somebody's foreplay styles linking up, because there's I had really good friend couple that they were like, if we like making out will lead to sex. Like I love kissing so much, and that will always lead. That is like the beginning of foreplay every single time. Like they love making out. It's not really my thing necessarily, but you know, like you like everybody's foreplay style is going to be a little bit different,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. There's different things that like turn people on, but I'll tell you.
Would you say there's different strokes for different folks?
Exactly. But I'll tell you, a big hard like starting off like that. Oh my God. No. You're not. No.
Button masher.
Button masher. I think button masher is going to be the name.
Oy.
Oh my God. Well, you guys also wanted to talk about
I think it's
Grimes
necessary.
and Elon Musk.
I think it's truly necessary. One, RIP to Grimes being super cool, because man, did Elon Musk just ruin her cool factor. Because I remember Grimes being like the coolest and thinking she was like awesome. Then she got with Elon Musk and I was like, oh no. Like, oh no.
Yeah.
And you guys know, anybody listening to this podcast, they know my feelings about Elon Musk. I think he's insufferable. I've always thought he was insufferable. And he just cemented his status as an insufferable human because he just had a son, and what they named him is absurd. It's absurd.
Do you know how you pronounce it?
No clue.
Kyle.
No fucking clue. No.
Why? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense because even Grimes
It's
explained
pronounced
it.
Kyle.
But okay, but how? Because Grimes even wrote a tweet. She wrote
No.
a tweet breaking down. So okay, you guys. Okay.
No.
Hold on. So the name, and we will have to post this because it doesn't look like Kyle. It sure doesn't.
Wait. No.
Because
Yeah.
the name is X space. Then there's a symbol that looks like an A and an E connected space. A-12. That's the name. And she explained it on her Twitter where she said X, the unknown variable, the AE symbol. She said my Elven spelling of AI. So she just made up an Elven spelling. A-12, precursor to SR-17, our favorite aircraft, plus A.
Do you guys have
Archangel.
a favorite? Do you guys have a favorite airplane with your significant
fucking
other?
hate them
'Cause-
so much. They're the worst. I hate them so much. And she, what I do love is that the state of California was like, absolutely fucking not. The state of California was like, that's illegal here.
I
You
quit.
can only have names that are in the alphabet, the English alphabet. Stop it.
Have you seen the meme where they were like, they did the Aaron meme with it or whatever? I'm like, that's fucking perfect.
I actually think
'Cause
it's
it is
cruel.
somebody broke it down and they're like, this is how you pronounce it. It's Kyle, basically. And I forget the reasonings why it was, but like that, it wasn't Elon Musk or Grimes. So it could be a joke, but I saw that and I was like, well, that's fucking perfect. I hope it is. I hope it's Kyle fucking Musk. And that fucking spelling.
I think it's, I truly, look, I'm coming down hard, but I think it's cruel. I think it's cruel to name your kid this because that kid is going to have to grow up with that name. I don't care that his parents are famous or like whatever. Like, this is a name he's going to have to carry with him throughout his entire life if he ever wants to do anything. Like, it's awful. No one's ever going to know how to pronounce it. It's terrible. Don't do this to your kids. They're not accessories.
Yeah, it's like already like being Elon Musk's son is going to be hard enough. You know what I mean? Like, give him a normal fucking name. Well, I mean, beyond the fact that they're incredibly privileged, like, it's going to be difficult being his son for numerous reasons. Emotional, maybe not like financially, but
Did the state try to take that baby away from them already?
No,
Because
the
they were
state-
like, this is child cruelty.
I mean, I don't know which side of that I'd land on. I'm just kidding. But no, there was a supervisor at the Department of Public Health Vital Records Office in Los Angeles. Where I also love this, where it says where the baby is believed to have been born. It's like, okay. And it's against California law to include numbers or symbols in a name. They're like, you can't do that.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
The most insufferable human being. I cannot imagine being around Elon Musk for any extended period of time. There was that thing going around that was like, which house do you want to be quarantined in? And the one that he was in otherwise had like cool people in it, but I was just like, can
like,
you
I can't.
imagine spending
No.
months on end
Do you know
locked in
who
a house
is?
with Elon Musk?
Do you know who is happy about Elon Musk and Grimes' baby's name? Apple. Fucking Gwyneth and Coldplay dudes.
Sure.
She's like, my name's not so weird now, is it, motherfuckers?
Yeah. You thought Apple was crazy? Well,
Yeah. Well, you know, there was Moon Unit Zappa well before an Apple, so.
That's true.
well, yeah. And there was like Peaches and Trixabelle who were,
Boy.
what's his face's kids? Bob Geldof. So
Ugh.
Peaches.
I would be a Peaches
I
all
actually
day.
know a Peaches.
Sign me up for a Peaches.
I
You
know
could
a
pull
Peaches.
that off.
I want to be Peaches. Boy.
Who should we
Well,
fuck,
I hate that.
fuck, marry, kill this week? You want to do Street Fighter characters?
I don't know any
I'm
of them.
not familiar enough. I actually have an idea. Okay, I have an idea.
Okay.
Feel free
Okay.
to shoot it down. But I was watching, Anthony and I were like, let's put on something just fun to watch. And so we put on Tremors. Okay.
Oh, I love that movie.
I forgot. That movie is ridiculous, but that's what makes it fun. It's a cult classic because it's insane. But I forgot.
I saw that in a drive-in.
Yeah, it's totally a drive-in movie.
P.S. Why haven't they revived drive-ins?
They said
Right
they were
now.
going
Exactly.
to. And I don't
So I'm
know.
just like-
I saw that
It's
they
the
were
smartest move right
they were
now.
going to do that. They should if they haven't already. But
Yeah.
I forgot that Reba was in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Reba
What?
is a
Reba
goddamn
McEntire.
national fucking treasure. I thought she was
Yep.
so fucking cute, and I thought she was actually
Love
really
her.
good in Tremors.
Yeah.
And I started thinking, I'm like, why don't we do like old school classic country artists? Because I think
Yes.
Nice.
Reba was just on the cusp, like right before country turned pop.
Yep.
So she's
Yes,
still solidly
yes.
in that like country
Country.
category, and I loved her, and I still love her. I
love-
think she's amazing.
Love her music. Yeah.
Isn't Kelly
same.
Clarkson
Willie fucking Nelson.
Kelly Clarkson is her daughter-in-law. Fun fact.
Oh, that's
Oh.
right. I did know that.
she's
Yes,
married
I did.
to
Like,
her son.
Oh my God, how fun would it be?
isn't
to
his name
go?
like Rhett or something like that?
Huh?
I don't know.
And isn't his name like Rhett or something
I don't know.
fun? I don't know.
Wouldn't it be
Anyway.
fun to go to like a backyard barbecue at Reba's house? Come on.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
You know, she's got great quality meat.
Yeah.
I bet you
And
she's
Reba-
the best mother-in-law.
Oh,
Reba makes like the only coleslaw that I like. I don't know. There's something about the way that she does it. I just know in my heart that she makes good
it's those
coleslaw.
celery seeds.
And there's
Yeah,
something
there's some
about
secret.
her. There's something about her accent that, because sometimes you can get certain accents
Endearing.
that grate on you. I actually find her accent, her southern accent, is comforting to me. Like,
Oh yeah.
It's
her
sweet.
southern accent sounds
Like Dolly Parton.
like- yeah, and Dolly Parton. It's like their southern accents sound like biscuits and gravy. You know what I mean? And I'm
Ugh.
just like, oh,
Okay, so Dolly Parton, straight up, when she talks, if I close my eyes, it's my grandmother's voice I
I
hear.
love it.
Dolly
My
Parton is the
grandmother-
best.
My grandmother has the exact same accent as Dolly Parton. And when I listen to her talk, I literally can hear my grandmother
where's
speaking.
your grandmother from?
It's my grandma is from southern Ohio,
Oh, okay.
so not too far from Kentucky, Tennessee border
West
area.
Virginia.
But
Isn't Dolly Parton from West Virginia? Because
No,
My
it's
fam-
Tennessee, I
my-
think.
coal people.
That grandmother is my grandmother is from southern Ohio, near Kentucky, so that area. But Dolly Parton grew up in Tennessee, in near Pigeon Forge, so like eastern Tennessee. But that accent, I don't know. There's something about it in her tonal affect and her
It's
voice.
comforting.
It's
Dolly
so spot
Parton's
on.
is slightly different than Reba's, but both of them are like
Yes.
they like. I would love for Dolly Parton to read me stories. Do you know what I mean? I would really
Yeah.
like it. I think
Yeah.
it would be like comforting to me.
She does that.
Does she?
She does that. She reads children's books. Like she did like a whole thing of like, and she is so active and is so giving. She actually she's got like this whole program where she gives children's books to underprivileged children and she reads stories and stuff. It's the fucking best thing you've ever seen in your life.
Dude, I had a relationship moment with a capital M watching country music with Eric. And the first time Dolly Parton came on, I was like, what do you think of Dolly Parton? Like, trying not to make it like this is an
Too
important
big.
question. He was like, "Oh my god, I love her," and I was like, "Phew, "Okay."
Oh,
'Cause,
thank
like,
God.
Who doesn't? Are there people
She's
who
a goddamn
exist who
treasure.
don't like Dolly Parton?
Well, they can fuck right off.
honestly,
Like, who?
Why?
I feel about this like I do how my dad feels about people who don't like kittens and puppies. Like you're wrong. And,
Well, I feel that as
you
well.
can go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Both of those things are true. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
And
all of that's true.
kittens, puppies, and Dolly Parton. So,
Amen.
amen, amen.
Amen.
Okay,
So
so we'll
who's-
do
who's
Reba.
our third?
We'll do Dolly.
Oh, I want to do Willie Nelson.
absolutely, that's your
Fine.
pick. Then Willie Nelson. He's
I love Willie Nelson. He's a goddamn treasure. Fucking braided brother. God, that voice.
I think this is
He's
a
so
hard
special.
one. This is a really
This
hard
is a
one.
He's
hard
so
one.
special.
we're gonna have to friend.
Who do you
who do you
kill?
kill?
Oh, really, Christina?
Okay.
really?
All right,
That's
if,
rich.
I
you
love
want-
that
if you wanna
Christina is
do
the
it, we're
authority
gonna
on
do
whether
it.
or not we get to do it. Like, it's like you and I don't even have a say. in, like,
No say.
making decisions.
No say.
oh my god.
Fine, we will friend.
No, I think.
I'm
Oh,
okay
okay, we're
with
gonna
this.
friend. I was gonna
think-
try.
I
and
don't
make
know,
it
Christina,
challenging,
are we?
But
Okay, let's do the challenge. Challenge accepted.
it's
Okay.
gonna be
All
really,
right.
Okay.
really hard, and I'm gonna try not to
I
take
think
any
I
of
know.
it personally.
Oh, no.
I think I know. I think
you're
I know.
gonna kill Reba, Cassie. I know it.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I love her. And I would friend her in a fucking heartbeat if Christina would allow it, but she never lets us do anything we want. She's on a hard line and we ride it. So this is the tough thing. Who do you fucking marry and who do you fuck? Like, honestly, because here's the thing. I want to fuck Dolly Parton because them titties. I want to motorboat
but
and son of
marry
a bitch.
her, and then you can motorbert them all. Motorbert them all day.
I know, but I fucking love Willie Nelson. And I'm so inclined to...
He's gonna have that kind of life that I think that would appeal to you, Cass. That he's like a traveling.
Chill.
He's chill, but he travels everywhere. He's got
Actually-
a pimped out fucking tour bus,
Yep.
and you get to see the world and fucking travel with Willie Nelson. I feel like that's a Cass.
I feel like
choice.
he's going to treat you right, too. You know what I mean? Like, he's just...
He seems very respectful. He seems
And-
like a gentleman.
To be fair, could I listen to my grandmother talk to me all day, all the time? I mean, I love my grandmother, but that would be weird to be married to. her.
Yeah, I have to
Voice.
say, like, a fucking Dolly Parton actually is something that I don't really want to do. Like, I like Dolly Parton a lot.
I just want to motorboat them titties. That's it.
I don't even want to
motorboat.
motorboat them. I just want to lay my head gently in her bosom, and let her just stroke my hair. That's what I want.
And just softly sing to you.
Yes,
Oh.
yes, that's what I want. But
Can
yeah,
I have
I
that?
have zero urge to fuck Dolly Parton at all.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
which makes this really difficult.
Yeah.
Because I can't kill
Okay.
her.
No.
If
you do.
can't do it. I wish we had done friend. I don't know why I talked us out of it because I don't know what to do now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah, well, I killed
I'm
Reba.
gonna
I don't want
balls-
to talk about that.
I'm gonna balls up. I'm going to I'm going to marry Reba. I'm going to marry Reba because there's something
Killing
about
Willie.
something strong and like a big backyard, a rancher life, like a homestead life. I feel like it's very appealing. And
Me
like,
too.
we're going to have a big old family and fucking y'all will live down the street. Y'all come over. We're having a barbecue. Like,
If you
it's
live
just
with
gonna be
Reba,
great.
you live in a house that has a lake that has one of those swings on a tree that you swing into. And I'm like, that sounds great to me. Yeah, also,
Her
you know,
house
Reba,
has a porch all the way around it.
Reba has a man, but Reba doesn't need a man for anything.
Right. Ooh.
Like, Reba grills
Yep.
her own steak. You know?
Yes, ma'am.
Reba can like fucking ride a horse and like go fucking like ranch cattle or do whatever that shit is.
Work a
Whatever that
lasso
is.
or whatever.
Yeah. Reba's self-sufficient and I like it. I just feel like we would have fun, like, you know, drinking whiskey and talking shit. It'd be fun. I am going to fuck Dolly Parton because motorboating, yes, and because, like I said, I think it's gonna be sweet though. It feels wrong to say fuck Dolly Parton because I feel like it's gonna
You're gonna
be
make love.
It's gonna be making love, which I know grosses Cassie out, but
It grosses me out. I fucking hate that phrase.
I know. I know. But it's just like what you said, like she's going to start stroking my hair, lightly singing and stuff, and then just like things are going to progress from there. But
there
it's
are
not
candles.
Nope.
Yeah.
No button mashing with Dolly Parton. She is not a button masher.
No.
For sure.
Oh no, it's gonna be like delicate. Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, okay.
I'm gonna spit my LaCroix out.
I know I said that I know I said that I don't want to have sex with Dolly Parton, which I stand by, but I can't kill her. And I want to marry Reba for all the reasons that you already stated. Because I just feel like my life with Reba would be the best for me and like my lifestyle. So,
Yeah.
so
Sedentary.
yes.
Laid back.
Laid back. Yeah, that's right. And I feel like
Please,
Reba,
it's gonna be more laid back than Willie and all that weed.
Oh,
but here's the deal about that though. I love Willie Nelson. Love him.
I would just braid
Love
his hair
him.
all day.
But I have to say, while I'm starting to develop more of a appreciation for it again in my life, it still is very hit or miss with me as far as like causing me to have a panic attack. Like it gives
I don't
me,
enjoy it at all.
gives
I don't
me
like weed.
anxiety, and so for me, I don't think I could. To me, honestly, the weed part of it is the part of it that makes it is the biggest turnoff for me with Willie. Just for my lifestyle, I can't be around it that much, or I'll have a straight up panic attack. So I'm gonna have to kill Willie.
You killing Willie?
I don't want to. I don't
It
want
breaks
to.
my heart. You know. We've talked about country music, that documentary, like a billion times. But you know who I came out of that show really, really, really loving, and completely George Jones,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Old Possum.
Yep.
Fucking forgot like how much of his music really was such a part of my childhood. Like it just. I love his music. I forgot.
I love Ken Burns, honestly.
Oh, so
I-
good.
So just like anything. So, whew. Well, you guys want to take 5 and we'll come back with stories?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Today's episode is brought to you by Best Fiends.
Life can be busy and overwhelming, and sometimes I just need a break. Lucky for me, I have Best Fiends. This mobile game is full of cute, charming characters and challenging puzzles.
I'm currently on level 635, and right now I have Terry the Tarantula, so I'm super excited to get him up and running.
I actually think the slugs are pretty cute too. I personally love Best Fiends because it's the perfect brain break it's just really nice to be able to open up Best Fiends and have a really challenging but casual game to play. And hey, if you've been playing too, chat us up. Let us know on Facebook what you think.
Engage your brain with fun puzzles and collect tons of cute characters. Trust me, with over 100 million downloads, this 5-star rated mobile puzzle game is a must play.
Download Best Fiends free on the Apple App Store or Google Play. That's friends without the R. Best Fiends. Cheers! And we're back. So we just realized that we did not introduce ourselves in the whole first half of the episode. So, hi, this is My Worst Date. I'm Keegan.
I'm Cassie.
I'm Christina.
I never go first. It feels very, very weird. Okay, so I am going to start us off with stories today. My rule is first time meeting someone to usually meet at a coffee shop or something similar. Some intimate setting to get to know the person better. Makes perfect sense. I met a girl on Tinder. She seemed very nice, and somehow we had a good bit in common, other than that she was religious and I'm not. She never brought it up in conversation, so I didn't think about it much. Decided to meet her at a Starbucks halfway between our homes. She was nice, but seemed nervous. Thought it was the first date nerves or something. Sorry, hold on. I missed. Okay. Probably about 15 minutes into talking, another dude who was sitting a few tables near us comes and sits down right next to her. He pulls out a pamphlet with words like Jesus and "Are you lost?" question mark written across the top.
Oh no. You're like, yes, I'm going to go find where I should be, which is not here.
I'm like,
so,
sir,
bye.
are you lost? Why are you sitting at my table? Like, go away.
Right.
I'm super confused at this point. I tell the guy, no thanks, and that we didn't have time to hear about this. She then begins to tell me that this was her friend and that they wanted to talk to me about where I was in life and how Jesus can help.
Oh no,
This is
so
the worst
wrong.
pyramid scheme ever.
It sucks.
I hate it.
It sucks. Don't, like, look, do your ministry or
Don't
fucking
trick
whatever,
people.
but don't trick
into-
anyone.
Yes.
That's right. That's right. And if they say no thanks, then you say, okay, have a blessed day and move on. Okay?
Oh,
I just don't like anyone pushing anything on me. It's that whole like don't tell me what to do, Keegan. It's I have that big time too. I'm just like I don't like it.
Well, and I didn't sign up for this. I didn't mentally prepare for this. I mentally prepared to go on a date. And also, like, I don't know. I just think it's extra shitty because it's like you're already in a vulnerable situation when you're on a first date. Like, why would you do this to somebody?
Yes.
I think she mentioned something about how today's youth is being corrupted by online dating and how we're straying from God's light. I realized then that I was in a religious intervention because they met through online dating. God. So she is tricking these people on these apps and then bringing them in and being like, you should really not be on these apps. Jesus wouldn't approve.
Oh, no. You don't know that. God. You don't know that.
You absolutely don't know that. Stop speaking for Jesus.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think Jesus would have a good time on Bumble. Look at the people he hung out with, man.
That is what I say all the time. I had this whole conversation with Anthony the other day because, okay, I'm not going to get into all that, but I'll talk to you guys about it later. But I was having this conversation with him the other day, and I was like, it's so frustrating because the Jesus that you read about in the Bible is not at all the Jesus that is presented through many of his followers. And that's difficult because it's like,
through
this
Facebook.
dude hung out with like tax collectors and sex workers and, you know, he actually seemed pretty chill. Yeah. Okay. I was pretty freaked out. I think all I said was something to the effect of, this is fucked up, then stood up and left. She texted me later to tell me that she was there for me when I was ready to hear God's word.
Oh,
well,
no.
thank you so much, Bethany, but no thanks.
Bethany.
Oh my God. No. Oh my God.
Woof.
Yeah, I told you. I I connected with a guy, but like that was the deal breaker for me, was how religious he was, which is like, you're allowed to have differing opinions, but there's some stuff that is, it's not just a different opinion, it's a different way that you live your life and you look at the world.
Yes.
That's just
a different worldview. I mean, and yeah, you're exactly right. I will always have your beliefs 100%. If that's something that is important to you in your life, I think that's
isn't
great.
harming other people.
Exactly.
Because I definitely don't feel that way for people that are out there fucking sharing that pandemic video.
Oh.
It's like, sorry, but you know what I mean? It's like, you can have your beliefs as long as they're also not hurting other people
Yes.
or putting people at fucking risk.
You're right.
So,
Yep, I agree.
but yeah. Anywho.
So I got mine from Reddit. Okay. So I met this guy on OkCupid. He was fairly cute. Conversation flowed nicely, and we ended up meeting at a park for a little bit, where we went on a walk and just talked about ourselves and life in general. After about an hour of this, I decided to head home, as I had things to do that day, and he went in for the kiss, which was very awkward, as I didn't really know the guy very well. I mean, we'd only been chatting in person for like an hour, but thankfully it was brief, and I kind of just put it in the back of my mind.
Feel about that? Like, for me, I'd really have to be vibing with somebody if I just met you in a park and we've only been talking for an hour, and you're like, well, I'm gonna kiss you now. I'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah, read the room, dude.
Yeah. I'd have to really, like, there'd have to be some, like, sparks flying everywhere for me to be like, yeah, this feels right. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's all about reading the room. There's definitely, like, the very first time that I met Eric, but we had been talking for weeks.
Yeah, see, that's
that.
different. Yeah,
Right.
you guys had been talking for a really long time and really long conversations, which isn't the same as, like, we just met and we've been talking for an hour in a public park in daytime. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't sound like it was necessary. It was awkward, but it doesn't sound like it was necessarily like overbearing. So it kind of seems like, okay, just brush it off in this situation. The very next day, I had chaperoned my younger cousin and his friends who wanted to go to an anime convention, and I forgot my phone at home. We left in the morning and didn't come back home till like 4 or 5 in the afternoon. When we got back, I noticed that my phone was lighting up like crazy. So I checked it to find that OkCupid guy had left me over like 100 text messages and 30 voicemails demanding to know where I was.
Did you say 30 voicemails?
I would kill myself if I had to go through 30 voicemails. Sometimes I get like, I hate voicemails.
Same. I was demanding to know where I was, asking why I wasn't answering, demanding that I pick up so I can go on a date with him right then and there. He also sent me pictures of what he planned to make for me for dinner at his place.
Oh, fuck you so hard. Absolutely fucking not. And see, yeah, this is the kind of thing. This motherfucker thought after 1 hour in a public place, in a park where the girl isn't feeling it, that it was appropriate to give a kiss. You are moving way too fast food if you think I'm coming to your house. Fuck you.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
There were also texts saying that I was really, quote, perfect for him, and that he deleted the dating app after meeting me because he was absolutely convinced that I was, quote, the one for him.
Nope. I hate it.
Needless.
Oh God, I'm drowning in red flags right now.
No,
Yes,
God,
she said, needless to say, this 130 plus red flags for me. So I texted him back stating that I don't think we're going to work out because he was coming on a little bit too strong, and wish him the best of luck in the future. That's it. That's all I said to him. He responds in text telling me that I'm overreacting, that I need to calm down.
Dude, when will anyone learn that is pouring gasoline onto a fucking fire?
I don't know.
You tell me to relax? Relax?
Calm down. High octane.
I'm just like,
Especially
voice
when I'm being
higher?
especially when I'm being reasonable. I think it is so triggering for
Right.
women, especially because I feel like it's a
Calm
form
down.
of gaslighting to do
Yep.
this to someone when they're being like completely reasonable to be like, you need to calm down. I will. It's kind of like with your parent, or like my Black grandparents did this. I feel like most parents don't do this anymore, but it's like if you got reprimanded and you started crying and they were like, I'll give you something to cry about.
Something to cry about.
I feel like it's
the worst.
it's terrible. Yeah, I'm glad we've moved
That's
away
just
from that parenting
that's not
style.
just your grandparents.
But
That was for sure my parents.
but
It gets better, you guys.
I totally feel like it's the same kind of thing with this, where it's just like, oh, you thought I was acting insane before?
Like, let me show you.
I'll show
what
you insane. Oh, you thought that was crazy.
Bitch, put your tea hair on. At this point, I was more than done with this entire interaction. So I didn't respond, and thankfully, for whatever reason, he didn't push the situation until 6 months into dating my ex-boyfriend, whom I'd met after. While in bed with my then boyfriend, I get a text from OkCupid guy that reads, quote, "I've found someone better than you. Delete my number."
Like, oh, honey.
Okay.
You know what you do then is you take a picture of your boyfriend lying in bed next to you, and you're like, deleted, bitch. Like, I've
Done.
What the fuck?
Be like, you weren't even important enough to delete.
Yeah,
Like-
I didn't even think enough of you to block you.
Yeah. I know I still have fucking people in my phone or whatever. I'm just like, who
Could you
who fucking
imagine
cares? Who
6
cares?
months from now, Christina, 6 months from now, getting a text from the guy you dated before Eric being like, "Hey, you can delete me. I found someone better than
What
you."
it means is that he still thought about you enough to.
I know.
Like, you realize that makes
Which
you
is
the weaker
weird. You
party.
spent 1 hour with this person. One
Yes.
fucking hour.
And I'm just like, oh God, I hate when people do that shit, because I'm just like, all this proved was that you are still thinking. You're so hung up on me that you texted me 6
Right.
months later.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Could you? I fucking pray this happens to you, Christina. I pray that somebody you went on one date, like messages you and like 4 months from now, because you and Eric have been going out for a while.
Yeah.
And it's just like, hey, I met
Delete
somebody better than you. You can delete me.
You know who it'll be?
Cool.
It'll be Stabler.
Yeah.
Oh my God, who you dated like 2 years ago? Like, what's happening?
It's gonna be him. I can feel it. Oh, okay. Are you guys ready to get furious?
Oh God,
Okay.
I don't know.
Great.
Most bizarre date I ever went on. Met a funny, cool, handsome engineer on Match.com. Our schedules aligned a week later, and we scheduled a meetup at a wine bar on my side of town. He texts me on his way to say he would be late due to a traffic stop. He received a ticket. I told him no worries. I'd have a glass of wine waiting for him. Classy. He finally arrives 30 minutes late. He sits down, says, "You look pretty," takes a sip of wine I'd ordered for him, goes, "Well, this is crap," and wildly motions for the waitress to come to our table.
Oh no.
That's such, like, you can be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, I don't particularly like sweet white wines, but like someone offered and got you something, like, you're basically just like shit all over them. That's the very first thing you're going to say to them. It's so
Yeah,
rude.
well, this is
So
crap
rude.
is such a rude way of saying I don't prefer this. What an
Exactly.
asshole.
Right. Right. You could literally have so easily said that.
You could so easily say a number of things that aren't offensive, and you
Or
just
if
didn't.
you're like me, just finish the glass of wine and then order what you want next time. How bad could it
Yeah.
possibly be?
Right, exactly. It's free fucking wine. So drink it and be nice.
Shut the fuck
So
up.
I've said no words at this point. He orders his wine from the waitress and dumps the remaining wine from the glass I ordered for him into my half-full wine glass and begins ranting and loudly cursing about the traffic ticket he received on his way to meet me.
Sounds like a fun guy.
So many red flags.
He was pulled over for speeding and also ticketed because his vehicle tabs were 6 months expired. There's a lot there. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, so you're rude. You don't have your shit together. And, yeah.
Yeah.
As he ranted, I gulped my Frankenstein wine, excused myself, went to the bar.
Wait, pause. So he
Frankenstein
poured wine into her glass and they were drinking different types of wine?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know why I thought that. I don't know why that.
He's like, now you got
filled me with-
rosé, bitch.
Yeah, that filled me with so much fury that in my head I was like,
know.
okay, that's super rude. But
I
I
hate
thought
it.
that they were drinking the same. And I was like, oh, so he just gave you wine. But no.
Oh my
Appalled.
God. So I paid for my wine and thanked him for his time as I passed by the table on my way out. I hopped in my car, headed to my favorite karaoke bar to join friends. After 15 minutes
Christina,
later,
did you write this?
I was just about to see that.
You're
No,
baby.
I love this person. She was just like, just paid her tab and was like, this isn't working. Bye. And
Yeah.
so about 15 minutes later, my ex-date walks in. He had followed me to the karaoke bar. He made a beeline to the table where I was surrounded by friends and boldly claimed he needed to speak with me outside.
Oh, motherfucker.
Wish
Are
a
you kidding me?
motherfucker
You know what? Try
would
that. You try that shit
come-
with our friends. We will ruin
Come-
your life. We will ruin your life.
I actually almost wish this bad date happened to me just so I could see
Ooh.
what you guys would do. I want to
Ooh,
see
could you
Amy.
see Emerson?
Oh my God. Emerson would
I
be
want to
like, we're
see
going to step
Emerson,
outside.
Chris, Anthony. Fucking what? Fucking, I'm sorry,
And I'm
what?
sorry, you came into
You want
her
a what?
house. Not only is this
Yes.
her family, because these are her friends, this is her house.
Ooh.
Because we have
Yeah.
one like that. We have a karaoke
This would have been
bar
the
that's
end of the
our
story.
bar. And I'm like, if that happened and all of our friends were like, you guys need to get this person out, the establishment would kick that person out. Fuck you. Oh, okay, I'm so ready. Continue.
Girl. Okay,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. All right.
I responded, I'm going to say this once. You need to leave. He said, not until I spoke with him outside. As he stood at our table, I texted the karaoke DJ and the bartender. In less than 2 minutes, two beefy linebacker bar regulars emerged from the back area and escorted my ex-date out of the bar. He stood outside the door for a moment, staring at me, and left. I finished the evening with my friends, left my car at the karaoke bar, and spent the night at my friend's home. I'm like,
Smart.
so smart,
Smart.
right? She's
Very
like,
smart.
he fucking followed me to the bar.
Yes.
Like, what else
Good
is
job.
this motherfucker capable of?
If he followed you
Also
once,
concerned
he'll
about
follow
my
you
car.
again. Yeah.
5 a.m. the next morning, I began receiving texts from him. He wanted me to know I owed him an apology. And despite how rude I was, he still liked me and wanted to see me again.
Oh, thank you so much. What a piece of shit. Oh, okay. Also, I have to say that the lesson learned from this episode is immediately block these motherfuckers' numbers. Like, do it as soon as the date's over.
Immediately.
Yeah. You don't need to hear from them again.
You don't
At
owe
5
shit to
a.m.?
shit.
I'm sorry. At 5 in the morning?
After we've been karaokeing and shit? Yeah, no.
If
Nah.
this man woke me up at 5 in the morning when I was hungover from a night of karaokeing, I would lose it.
Not today, Satan. Goodbye.
He said he forgave me for not apologizing to him for the tickets he received on his way to meet me and demanded I call him back ASAP to schedule our next date, as he knew I wasn't the self-centered bitch I behaved as during our date. LOL. Yes, he added an LOL and a smiley face with kiss hearts.
I hate this motherfucker.
I hope he never
so hard.
ever got with anyone ever again, because like this person
I want to call his mother.
Oh, this person is dangerous, because like this person is dangerous. Like these kinds of reactions and insulting her like that, saying that she's a self-centered bitch with like XOXO kissy heart, still expecting to get his way. Like, oh my God, I'm sweating.
I'm gonna need your mother's phone number right now.
But
Exactly.
You know what? I bet you his mommy is one of those women who's just like, my son can do no wrong, and that's why he's that.
And I'm sending you the receipts, bitch.
She goes, I blocked him and went back to sleep. The end. I'm like,
Good
Smart.
for her.
There it is.
Good for her.
Good ending.
Don't
Very
don't
good.
give him any fucking response to that kind of thing. Because those people don't fucking try to engage or get into an argument or anything. The best fucking thing you can do is just block. Ugh. I had to read that story because I was like, oh my God, did this happen to me? And I wrote this story and I forgot about it. But yeah, I was like, also like, wow, I would love for somebody to come into my fucking house and try to like do that shit in front of you guys.
Cassie is right. I mean, like that is full. We're in full. I wish a motherfucker would territory. Like,
I wish.
Are you kidding? Like,
I
and
wish.
that's part of why he must be dangerous, is because like he has so little self-awareness to know that like you came into my house with your chest
You're
out.
gonna die. You in danger.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think so. Okay.
You're
Oh
girl.
my God.
The amount of heavy breathing you're gonna have to mute off of my track. I apologize.
You were heated.
I am furious.
Mm-hmm.
I have the fire and rage of fury. Fury in my bones. I didn't even know I had this much pent up rage. I feel like maybe the Quora is doing this to me.
Yeah.
My
You know,
Aries is coming out, but I have rage.
There's been a thing going on, like a thing going around Facebook that's like everybody has one line from a movie that they say constantly, unironically in their life. And I think that mine is flames. Nice. Yeah, I like where from Clue where she's like, flames on the side of my face, heaving flames. And I feel that anytime I get like enraged like that where my body gets hot, I'm like, oh, flames.
Mine are dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria.
Okay.
Well, mine's now going to be you shit in my house.
You shit on my house. I love that line is you shit on my house. It's so fucking funny. And so listeners, if you don't know what we're talking about, join Patreon, because our next Crazy in Love Patreon movie review that we do is Can't Buy Me Love, and that is a line from that movie. So good.
Yes.
Okay, are you guys ready
Yes.
for Crazy in Love time? So
I hope it's not as enraging as that last
No,
story.
it isn't. Oh, it totally isn't. So I feel like I need to continue with my YouTube recommendations. So I will open this by talking about that. So Cassie and I have been listening to the podcast Noble Blood, which I've talked about many times on this podcast, and it's great. We love it. She's doing a series right now where like every 2 weeks, I think it's a bi-weekly podcast, they do an episode on King Henry VIII's wives. And it's really awesome. And it totally, the last one about Anne of Cleves made me like so interested. And so when I opened my YouTube, I don't know, the gods of the internet must have heard through my phone or whatever, me talking about Anne of Cleves, because this video came up on YouTube. And so I watched it, and then I fell down a rabbit hole because, of course, that's how YouTube works. And the video was from a channel called Reading the Past.
Ooh.
And the host is a woman named Dr. Kat, and she's a literary, material, and cultural historian. And so she just kind of like breaks down. The video I watched was actually talking about like, was Anne of Cleves really Henry VIII's like ugly wife, quote unquote, or is that just something that was made up to like feed Henry VIII's ego? And so it was a good video. But so of course, so I started watching her videos, and so more started popping up in like my recommendations. And I saw one that I thought was intriguing. So I watched it, and now I'm going to do a Crazy in Love on it. I am going to talk to you guys.
Amazing.
I'm going to take you through history and talk to you guys about the death of Amy Dudley. So.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Okay.
So this intrigued me because her like little thumbnail on YouTube said the original staircase, right? And so I was like, what? So I clicked on it, and it has a lot of similarities, kind of, to the documentary, the Netflix documentary, The Staircase, which we've all talked about, where his wife was found dead at the bottom of the stairs, but she had like cuts in her neck. And he was like, oh, well, those cuts
She
are
was
from
killed
an
by an
owl.
owl.
An owl came in and
She was cut by an
grabbed
owl.
her skull, and that's what caused those cuts. So if you Google Amy Dudley, what will come
Furiously shaking my head, yes.
up? What will come up is, I know you fully subscribe to the owl theory, but if you Google Amy Dudley, what will come up is cause of death stairs. That's what it says. Stairs. So, of course, this is intriguing. So I started learning about it. So Amy Robsart was born in Norfolk in 1532, and she was the sole heiress to a wealthy farming family. 3 days before her 18th birthday, she married Robert Dudley, who was the youngest son of John Dudley, who was the Earl of Warwick. Robert and Amy were the same age, and by all accounts, their marriage was a love match, or as they called it in the 1500s, a carnal marriage, which is like, oh, you're marrying someone you want to fuck. Like, that's why you're marrying them. It's not like a match made for, like, land or whatever. And, that was
mules.
unusual.
Rare enough to have a term. Yeah.
It was unusual. So they're both the same age. It's not like she was 18 marrying like a 50-year-old man. There are two 18-year-olds getting married because they loved each other. And their marriage was celebrated on June 4th, 1550 at the Royal Palace of Sheen. And Edward the Sixth, the son of King Henry VIII, and brother to Queen Elizabeth, he was in attendance at their wedding. And
wow.
It's because Robert's dad, the Earl of Warwick, and future Duke of Northumberland, he was basically the most powerful man in England. He led the government of Edward VI. So he was like his head lead government advisor or whatever. So his son's marriage to this daughter of, albeit a wealthy family, but like a farming family, it wasn't necessarily like a great prize, but this was his fifth son, first of all, and secondly, it slightly increased his power in Norfolk, so he was like, it's fine. But Amy must have, I know she wasn't an only child because she had half siblings, but she was the heir to her family's estate, which is unusual because she's a woman, and she was set to inherit her family's fortune after her parents died. So the young couple moved to court, and they had what seemed like pretty happy years in the beginning of their marriage. Lady Jane Grey married one of Robert's brothers and became Amy's sister-in-law. And so at this point, Amy is married into like the most powerful family in London outside of the Tudors. Like, she is like living the high life. But that all changes when Edward dies 3 years into their marriage. And Edward leaves the throne to his Protestant cousin, Lady Jane Grey. But of course, there was a huge... His half-sister Mary was like, not today, I don't think so. And so Lady Jane Grey was only on the throne for like 9 days. She gets overthrown, and then Mary takes the throne, and she's dogmatically Catholic. And this is very, very bad.
Bloody Mary.
Yes. And this is very, very bad for the Dudleys, because not only were they loyal to her half-brother Edward, but they're also super Protestant. So... Robert ends up getting thrown into the Tower of London from July of 1553 to October of 1554. And then, yeah. And Amy is allowed to visit him. And I put this in quotes because I thought it was funny. And there to tarry with him at the Tower Lieutenant's pleasure. So it sounds like conjugal visits were
Yeah.
going down.
Yeah. Oh yeah, theirs was
Well,
a
this was
carnal
a-
marriage.
That's just
Young hot people. And also you can Google I feel so bad for Amy Dudley's portrait because she was said to be beautiful. She looks beautiful in her
she's
portrait.
pretty. Here she is.
Oh, but
Oh.
that's something that was painted much, much later. That's not from the time.
Oh.
So you can find Google Amy Dudley.
Mm-hmm.
Her face looks beautiful, but her body is like I don't know. It's like the portrait artist like gave up on her body. Hold on.
Oh yeah, show me the one you're thinking of, because yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, I'm
only
not coming
one
up with-
portrait as far as I'm aware. Here it is. From when she
Oh.
was actually
Oh.
alive. And this is the one. So that's what she looked like. She actually has a beautiful face, but the portrait artist, her body looks so bizarre.
Those arms, like
Her-
they gave up.
Her
They were
face. This is what my face looked like when that person called and asked me for melted cheese. I'm just like,
Did you tell that story on the podcast?
no.
You should tell people what you're talking about because that was bananas.
It is bananas. No, people are losing their minds a little bit, and so I'm working in the restaurant right now, like working like takeout and delivery, and somebody called in one day and was like, "Yeah, I want a piece of slightly melted cheddar cheese," and I go,
Just one.
"What?" And she's like, can you melt it? And I said, no, like all of our containers are plastic
She's
and
like,
they would
"What?"
melt or whatever. And she's like, forget it. I'll just take a burger.
You're like, what the fuck?
Okay.
It's so weird.
And that's
Exactly
my
what that face is.
Yes. No, she does look like
It
she
is.
has
It has to
resting bitch face, but I will say of her portrait, like you can tell that like picture her smiling. Like she was probably like people say that she was a good looking woman.
Yeah.
But okay, so we left off with Robert being in the Tower of London accused of treason. So he is eventually released by Queen Mary, but the two of them end up having like kind of a difficult time like figuring out how to live now because they're not living at court. They're completely out of favor with the monarch. And so at sometime during this time, Amy's parents die, and so she inherits their property, and so they hang out there
thank
for
God.
a while. Yeah. So Queen Mary dies in 1558 and Queen Elizabeth takes the throne. And Robert and Amy are welcomed back to court, and Robert becomes Master of the Horse, which is a position that meant that his place was at court 100% of the time, and he was in almost constant companionship with Queen Elizabeth. And the fact that
Yeah, he
she
was.
chose him for this role suggests that she definitely wanted to spend a considerable amount of time with him, not just, for work, but also the Master of the Horse is a very like fun role. It means they're spending a lot
Virgin
of time
Queen my
together
ass.
for fun times. And it's also around this time that she sends Amy away from court. So she's like, Robert stays here all the time with me. You have to leave. So she sends the wife of her favorite away. And by April of 1559, Queen Elizabeth is like fully in love with Lord Robert. Like everybody notices it. Everybody talks about it. In fact, several diplomats reported that some at court had already speculated that the queen would marry him, quote, in case his wife should die. As Lady Dudley at this point was very ill. And a lot of the evidence points to like what might consider to be like modern day breast cancer. Like she had pain in her breasts. She had difficult time eating and things like that. And Elizabeth was becoming extremely possessive of Robert. So not only did she send Amy away from court, but she hardly ever let Robert leave her side, even to visit his sick wife, who, I already said that. So Amy started to get better in the later part of 1559, and Robert was able to visit her a few times, though it was said that she was very careful about her food, and many believed that she suspected that she was being poisoned. So As we'll start
Whoa.
talking about later, some people point to this and say, I think she had a mental illness. I think she had an eating disorder, like these things, and that's why she was so picky about her food. But a lot of people think that she thought she was being poisoned, and that's why she was so careful about what she ate. By the autumn of 1559,
Here, I will say, like, as a woman, we all know when another woman is trying to move in on
make
our
a
man.
move.
We
Mhm.
know.
Yes.
We know. And if
We're not
that
stupid.
that other woman is the queen of fucking England,
The most powerful person.
the most powerful person in the world,
Mhm.
of course you're going to be fucking concerned about your food because you're like, this bitch is trying to move in on my shit. And
Right,
the
and-
only way that she can is if I'm dead.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, which we'll talk about that a little bit later, but yeah, like she couldn't really marry him if he was divorced. He couldn't divorce his wife and
That's
then
right.
marry the queen. So if Queen Elizabeth wants you out of the way, you know, like I'd be fucking worried too.
I'm worried about my food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, by the autumn of 1559, several foreign princes were vying for Queen Elizabeth's hand. I mean, she's the most powerful woman in the world, like you said, and she's unmarried. So, and they were like, and this is very well documented, that people were very like upset about the fact that she had very little interest in any of these foreign matches. Mm-hmm.
We're fighting over
there's
that guy.
Robert. There's Robert. The Spanish ambassador and his imperial colleagues were informing each other and their superiors that Lord Robert was sending his wife poison, and that Elizabeth was only like leading them on, basically so that she's biding time until Amy Dudley dies so that she can marry Lord Robert. And this is actually a quote from the Spanish ambassador. It says, "Keeping Lord Robert's enemies and the country engaged with words until this wicked deed of killing his wife is consummated." So that's in writing. Like he like wrote that,
Wow.
that like, they're
Wow.
like, I think that they're going to take out Amy Dudley. That's how much of an open secret their relationship was. In March of 1560, this same ambassador informed Philip II, Lord Robert told somebody that if he live another year, he will be in a very different position from now. They say that he thinks of divorcing his wife. And after this, so Lady Amy never saw her husband again after her visit to London in 1559. So it goes like a year between like that and when she dies, or like almost a year, where she doesn't see her husband at all. Amy was pretty. Everybody was like, she's beautiful. And Elizabeth was extremely jealous. And it's pretty well documented that Queen Elizabeth was also very vain. So this was not good. And even when she had allowed Robert to visit Amy, she commanded him to tell her that nothing happened between them when he returned to court. So he'd have to come back to court and be like, "Don't worry, I didn't fuck my wife."
Wow.
She sounds great. In December of 1559, Amy moved into her relative Anthony Forrester's place at Cumnor Hall. She received enough money from her husband to run her household largely on her own, complete with 10 servants, and Robert would send her gifts regularly. So it almost feels like he's trying to placate her, or he knows like that he's behaving badly, because it was very unusual for a wife to be in control of finances, basically. Like he would send her allowances and to let her spend it however she wanted, which was unusual. On Sunday, September 8th, 1560, there was a fair in Abingdon, and while all of her servants were off at the fair, Amy, when they came back, Amy was found dead at the foot of the staircase at Cumnor Place. Robert Dudley was at Windsor Castle with the Queen when his wife died, and he heard about this, and then he sent his steward, Thomas Blount, to open an inquest. But by the time his steward got there, an inquest had already been opened. And so they started questioning the servants, and the servants were like, okay, so there was some odd behavior. Amy demanded...
Something weird did happen.
They're like, it was a little weird. Amy had demanded they all go to the fair, which was extremely unusual for a lady to be left alone without servants. And a lot of them protested this. They were like, you need you need people here because we're used to being in our homes alone. But at the time, that was extremely, extremely unusual. Extremely unusual. So when they would argue with her about this and they were like, someone should be here with you, she got angry. They're like, she got progressively more angry and told us that, like, basically she's a grown woman, she can make her own decisions, and all of us need to leave the house, which is strange. Not only did she ask them to go to the fair, she forced them to and became indignant and enraged whenever they said they didn't want to go.
Right.
When they interviewed Lady Dudley's maid, she said that she thought that Amy's death was not murder but an accident. And unfortunately, her words went on to unintentionally paint Amy as being somewhat unstable by 16th century standards, because she stated that Amy was a godly woman who would sometimes be heard on her knees asking God to deliver her from her desperation, which people took to be like, what does that mean? You know, despite this, her maid was certain that Amy's death was not a suicide, though it's clear that Robert Dudley Stewart felt otherwise. The coroner and 15 jurors were given the task of examining Amy's case. The jury's foreman assured Robert Dudley,
Wait, so time out. So what this book presupposes is that she threw herself down the stairs.
Exactly. That's how I feel too. I'm
That
just
was
like,
the best option to
throws
suicide?
themselves down a flight of stairs? But I think, yes.
With all the options of the world.
I think that
That
they're
one just seems to
trying
maim you.
to establish
That's-
that, like, well, she was mentally unwell, so maybe it doesn't make sense to us that she would throw herself down a flight of stairs, but maybe it made sense to her. I think is kind of what they're trying to, like, push, but it really doesn't make sense, and it will make less sense as we move through this. So
Allude.
there was a coroner and 15 jurors, and the jury's
great.
foreman told Robert Dudley in a letter that for all they could find out, it appeared to be an accident. Robert was relieved to hear that this was an accident, but he also suggested that there be a second investigation, quote, for more knowledge of the truth, and that this investigation should include any available friends of Lady Amy's and her half-brothers, both of whom he had ordered to Cumnor Place immediately after Amy's death, but nothing came of that proposal. So he was like, I want to have a second investigation, and they were like, no, one's enough. So the coroner wrote a Latin inquest report, which you can see. They have it in the Reading the Past episode, which I just think is so fascinating because it's like an old-timey detective report.
I love that.
Totally.
His verdict was that Lady Dudley, quote, being alone in a certain chamber, accidentally fell precipitously down the adjoining stairs to the very bottom of the same. And she sustained 2 head injuries, kind of like on the back of the skull. One, the depth of a 1/4 inch. They say the depth of a 1/4 of a thumb, but I Googled it. A 1/4 inch, and the other the depth of 2 thumbs, so 2 inches. That's a deep wound.
Jesus.
And does that not sound familiar?
That stairs
Maybe
don't
an
give
owl
you.
came into Cumnor Place and latched itself onto her skull.
Okay, but 2 inches is still not deep.
Oh, on
that is
who?
not as deep as any of the wounds
Oh.
that she had in the
Um,
staircase.
So,
The staircase.
You're like, no, it wasn't Al Keegan. Stop it. She had,
No, it was an owl.
yeah. She had.
This wasn't
also,
an owl.
quote,
The other one
by
was an owl.
reason of the accidental injury or of that fall and of Lady Amy's own body weight falling down the aforesaid stairs, broken her neck, on account of which the same Lady Amy had then and there died instantly.
That's a lot.
So basically what he's saying is she fell in such a way that her body weight landed on her neck, broke her neck, and she died instantly from having her neck broken. And they all swear an oath that this was an accident, by misfortune came to her death and not otherwise, as they are able to agree at present. So they all agreed that, like, this is how she befell misfortune, was an accident. Okay, so let's break it down. When Amy is found dead at the bottom of the stairs, despite having her neck broken and having 2 large lacerations, one as deep as 2 inches, in the back of her skull, her
Gashes,
hood
yeah.
is still up and intact on her head, which seems strange. Seems like if you fell down the stairs with that much force and enough to cause lacerations to the back of your skull and into your brain, I assume 2 inches, that your hood would fall off. She also has these 2 large gashes. If she has these 2 large gashes, would she not be found in a puddle of blood? And none of the reports, there'd be so much blood. None of the reports
so much blood,
document
especially a head
that
wound.
she was found in blood at all. So either they failed to document that or there wasn't blood present at the bottom of the stairs. So is it possible that she died somewhere else and was moved? That her body was moved, her hood was put back on? In the week before Amy died, she sent a letter, and you can also see the letter in the video, which I just think is so fun. She sent a letter to her tailor in London to have a fancy new dress made. And so for those who argue that her death was a suicide, it seems as though she was making plans. She was making future plans. And so some have speculated that perhaps she ordered a new dress and sent the servants away that day because she had a lover that she wanted to meet with in private. Yeah.
Affair.
She also remained super careful about what she ate for the rest of her life after her first illness. And so some point to this, like I said earlier, that she was depressed and or suicidal. Others point to the fact that she might have had a legitimate fear of being poisoned. All right. So
right, because suicidal doesn't make me think I should be worried about what I'm eating.
Yeah, exactly. I feel the same way. I think what
opposite.
they're trying to say is that, like, oh, she was crazy, so who knows what she was capable of, you know? All right, let's move through the suspects. And I took this basically from the Reading the Past video. So, suspect number 1, Queen Elizabeth I. So Elizabeth definitely had the means and the motive to have somebody kill Amy. She was, by all accounts, in love with Robert, and her counselors were constantly pushing her to marry and produce an heir. And she wanted to marry Robert, and Amy was in the way. There's also speculation that, look, if the Queen of England, the most powerful person in the world, calls you and tells you, hey, I'm coming, clear your house of all your servants, don't tell anyone that I'm coming, because I don't want anybody to know, you would probably do it. Like, you know, you'd be like, I can't tell you why, but everyone needs to get out of the house. So there's some speculation that that could be possible. Yeah, there's just no way that Amy would disobey what Elizabeth asked, no matter what. Elizabeth is not only known to be insanely jealous, but she's also notoriously cunning and very smart. And as we saw throughout her reign, she was absolutely capable of deception. It's part of what made her such a successful monarch, especially as a woman. And if she wanted Amy out of the way, there's no doubt in my mind that she would have been able to find a way to do it. However, despite the fact that she's fully capable of having Amy killed, she was also completely in love with Robert. This is a fun sidebar. So much so that she did not allow Amy at court, as we said. And later on, when Robert secretly marries a second time to a woman named Lettuce, which I think is funny, Elizabeth, her name is Lettuce, which I'm like, oh, honey.
Excuse me, what?
So
Apple?
Robert does marry a second time down the road, like years later.
I don't like that.
Elizabeth loses her fucking mind. Like, she banishes both of them, both Robert and Lettuce, from court at that time. So she's clearly, like, super jealous. When she finally does let Robert come back to court after that time he gets married, she never allows Lettuce to come back to court, ever. So that's the way that she is.
You gotta stop saying his
That's
name.
her name.
Lettuce.
But if
poor Lettuce.
Lettuce.
They said Lettuce. Look, I trust Dr. Cat to know what she's talking about, and she
I
said Lettuce.
Were her parents Elon and
Oh God, Grimes. But here's the counter, though.
Grimes.
If Elizabeth did this, to get Amy out of the way, why didn't she marry Robert?
Yeah. Why didn't she act upon it?
Right.
Why didn't
And
she
so
marry
some
him?
think that
Exactly.
maybe it's because, okay, I'll get into that now, because suspect number 2 is the husband. The husband always did it, right? So before Amy's move to Cumnor, she was staying with a man named Richard Verney, who was a close friend of Robert's, and it's there that she first starts to suspect that she's being poisoned. And so some speculate, along with like those letters from that like Spanish ambassador and things like that, that Robert was having his friend Richard Verney poison Amy while she was staying there, and that's part of why she left and went to Anthony Foster's house. And Anthony Foster was related to Amy, but he was also loyal to Robert. So it's possible that he also could have been contracted or would have allowed somebody to come in and kill Amy. And the Dudleys were like notoriously like social climbers. They wanted to always be in proximity to power. So it's very likely that Robert wanted to marry Elizabeth. Like he would have been essentially the king consort if he was able to produce a male heir with Elizabeth. So he probably did want to marry Elizabeth. So he likely didn't kill Amy himself if he was involved, because it's unlikely that Amy would have sent her servants away if her husband was coming to visit. Like likely they would have prepared chambers for him. They would have made extra food. They would have done all of that stuff if she knew he was coming. So he likely didn't do it, or if he did it, he certainly didn't tell her that he was coming. But if Robert thought there was a chance that he might be able to marry the queen, he was more than likely willing to sacrifice his wife to do this. It's true that when Amy dies, he pushes to have an inquest and he buries Amy with full honors. They have a massive funeral. Everybody attends. However, Robert does not attend, which is unusual. He also does not erect a monument to her after she dies, which would have been customary for a husband to do for a wife of that status at the time. So he doesn't go to the funeral. He doesn't erect a monument in her honor, which is strange. And then at the time, for those who thought Amy was murdered, Robert was suspect number 1 because of that behavior, because he didn't erect a monument, didn't go to the funeral. So many rumors were spiraling all over the place that basically the equivalent of 16th century gossip mags were pointing at Robert constantly, accusing him of poisoning Amy and then eventually having her killed. And these rumors followed him for the rest of his life.
This could be
and
why
so
Elizabeth didn't marry him.
Exactly. So some say that if Elizabeth and Robert had planned this death, if they had managed that they had been trying to kill her using poison, and if that had happened, it would have been untraceable. Things would have been fine. It wasn't working because Amy was too careful about what she ate. So the two of them decided to have her killed. But then the fallout from that, it was too much. She couldn't touch him then because it was too much drama, which leads us to the final suspect.
Yep.
Suspect number 3, William Cecil.
I'm so glad it's not lettuce.
So William Cecil... It's not lettuce. What if it was lettuce? Like if she was playing the long game. So William Cecil was Elizabeth's chief political advisor, and he was basically like the little finger of this story for all of you Game of Thrones heads out there. He has people working in almost every noble household in England as spies. So he absolutely has the means, the power, and influence to have Amy killed if he wanted her killed. And William did not like Robert. And in fact, some say that Robert was William's rival, and he certainly did not want Robert to marry the Queen. So is it possible that William knew the controversy that would happen if Amy died in this violent manner, and that people would suspect Robert, and that this would keep Elizabeth from marrying Robert?
It's far-fetched.
That's too convoluted,
yeah,
and it's too risky. Do you know what I mean? It's too risky because if he had killed her, and like, what if Elizabeth was like, "Fuck it, I want to marry him anyway"? Do you know what I mean?
That's
so
possible,
it's just
but
too
I think
much
his
of a risk.
Fear was, or this theory is that the fear was that if Robert and Elizabeth were working together to poison Amy, he was worried they were becoming too close to being successful. And so he was like, I have to think of another way to get Elizabeth to not marry Robert. Because he knew that this would follow him for the rest of his life, and it would eliminate him as a match for the queen. And he's like the prime minister. So like, just like Elizabeth, if he called and was like, I'm coming to Cumnor, clear your household, she probably would have done it. And his presence, because he was traveling so much, wouldn't be missed at court in the same way that Elizabeth or Robert's presence would have been missed. And so then you have to ask, like, is he capable of having done something like this? And it does seem as though he thought that he knew what was best for Elizabeth and acted on her behalf more times than just this. For instance, later in her reign, Elizabeth signs the death warrant for Mary, Queen of Scots, and gives it to Cecil with explicit instructions not to act on it until further notice. So here's her death warrant, but don't act on it until I tell you to. So he calls a secret council and decides to act on the warrant. And Elizabeth's cousin Mary was executed before Elizabeth even knew what was happening. And she was enraged. She was furious, but if he thought he knew better than Queen Elizabeth, or she didn't know like what was best for her, he acted on her behalf often. So if he thought Robert Dudley becoming king consort was a threat to the realm, he may have acted on that.
I see that, but I agree with Christina. That's a real gamble. I mean, you're throwing the dice hoping that this scandal is enough to push Elizabeth away, and that I
agree. And
it's a real gamble.
Elizabeth is, and she's also very powerful.
Yeah.
So I feel like you're also taking the gamble that she won't be able to squash this
rumors,
controversy, which she doesn't squash it, whether she's capable of it or not, she doesn't. And it does follow Robert for the rest of his life.
I agree.
I think it's Queen Elizabeth.
I think so too.
That's my suspect.
But okay, so did Amy kill herself?
No.
I don't think so. This is something that people keep bringing up, that perhaps she desired to kill herself. There was all the praying for deliverance.
There's
all of that
many
stuff.
ways to kill yourself. Throwing yourself down the stairs is not logical, nor is it foolproof. It's not foolproof at all. And so it's
not a
stupid.
sure
I
thing.
think that the other thing, I think part of the theory about her killing herself has to do with killing yourself was a mortal sin, right? At this time. So perhaps she killed herself and then somebody moved her to the bottom of the stairs, or took her body and pushed it down the stairs so that people wouldn't know she killed herself, so that they could avoid the disgrace of like her having killed herself.
So she hit herself in the back of the head twice to kill herself.
Or maybe she took pills.
Well, if there was no, or maybe she like hung herself, which would explain the broken neck, and somebody, and then like, you know what I mean?
I was going to say post-mortem,
that's true.
Way less, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, or maybe she did hit her head on something, or she broke her neck, right? Let's just say that. She hangs herself, she breaks her neck. They take her body, they push it down the stairs. She does hit something hard on the back of the skull, and then they go and put her hood back on at the bottom of the stairs. So that's possible, that could have happened. I liked this theory that somebody in the YouTube comments put in. It's from Shattered Silverlight on YouTube. They say, theory: Amy Dudley had a lover and was pregnant by him. Her praying about the deliverance from her situation was about God saving her from the pregnancy, or praying that her husband would return to her. The clearing of the servants was to allow a midwife to perform an examination on her to confirm the pregnancy. So either Amy informed her husband, or one of the servants had suspicions and told their master. Robert would not have been able to obtain an annulment for infertility if she gave birth, and Elizabeth could not marry a divorced man. As he strikes me as an act now, think later guy, kind of guy, Robert panicked and had her killed without thinking about the consequences. Maybe he thought that Elizabeth's love would buffer him, or that he was powerful enough on his own that no one would dare question him.
That's it.
I think that that's a good
That's
theory. And especially
Ooh,
since
I like that story.
perhaps Robert
That was
is
a good-
infertile because they've been married for a long time by 16th century standards and have no children.
And neither did Elizabeth.
Um,
And Elizabeth
Yeah.
didn't.
And they
either.
had a carnal
So-
marriage.
And we know they
yeah,
fucking.
yeah. So perhaps Robert is infertile, and maybe she hadn't seen her husband in like a year. Like maybe she was having an affair and got pregnant.
Same.
I fucking
Yeah,
hope she
get
was.
some,
I hope she was. You're gonna you're gonna fuck around on me? Okay.
And this is
Samesies.
interesting. So she put up a poll on Reading the Past on this video about what people thought, and I disagree with the outcome of this poll, and you guys will absolutely too. So 16% said accident, 0% said suicide, 6% said murdered by Elizabeth I, 13% said murdered by Robert Dudley, and 62% said murdered by William Cecil.
Nah.
So maybe there's more about William
No.
Cecil that I don't know. Like maybe I'm missing something. But I think it seems more likely that Elizabeth and Robert did it and did it together, maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
it's a whodunit.
Yeah.
We'll never
Wow.
know.
Jeez.
I love it. Oh my god, I love
Yeah.
love
That was
historical
good.
crazy and
Yeah,
love
That was
me
time.
good.
Makes me
I
so
love
happy.
that. I did too. I love these historical ones. There's so much, especially in times like these.
In times like these, we all have to come together to talk about
together.
murders.
And the
Well, we're living through history right now, man. They're going to be like
weird,
talking
right?
about it in history.
Yeah, I
books
do
and
think-
stuff.
yeah, my grandkids are going to be like, what
Yeah.
did you do? I'm going to be like, grew tomatoes. That's all I did the whole
I
time.
crocheted everything. Everything. But I do think though that
Be like, why is Grandma Lysoling the groceries?
She lived through COVID, honey.
Right.
Grandma lived through.
she lived through the
Yeah.
Rona.
Yep.
Wow.
Grandma always has so much toilet paper.
You never
in her
know.
house.
You never know.
Oh man.
Or more likely, it's going to be like so many people being like, why do all the people of this age bracket have a drinking problem? It's like, well, they did nothing but 3 months of drinking.
This whole generation needs a lot of liver transplants.
Constant. Yeah.
I'm actually
Yeah.
getting bored with drinking where I'm like not doing it as much just because I'm just like
Yeah.
bored.
Yeah. And I feel the same way about like TV. I was just getting ready to start to
Ooh, I
ask
got a
you
good
guys
one.
like what you were watching, but I got so over television.
I
general
started Penny
this
Dreadful.
week.
I watched that. I watched the 2 first episodes of City of Angels. And it's pretty good. I'm enjoying it.
Keegan's in it. I saw you.
You can spot me in a window in the
Yes.
first episode because I did background for that show. So play Where's
Yay.
Waldo.
It's easy. You get a
with me in
nice
that show
hot
if you want.
shot. It's bold and in your face. I see you strong.
But yeah, other than that, I'm not really watching anything new. Like movies every now and again, but that's it. Watch Tremors.
I have been this week has been binge watching Below Deck Mediterranean. I finished all the seasons, and this last season was a banger. It was
I fucking love
Dude.
it that you're watching reality TV.
I'm like, oh look, when you could do things outside and stuff. This season though, like of Below Deck Mediterranean, the most recent one, like it's worth it for you guys to just watch like the first 3 episodes. The fucking chef, ooh wee, is a full conversation that we all need to discuss.
Oh, shit.
I was texting Chris from
man,
the other
you
room
see?
like, oh my God, she just opened a box of Aunt Jemima for pancakes. Oh shit.
Oh man, as the chef.
Oh,
Oh, man,
no.
I really I want to watch reality TV, but Anthony is so opposed to it that he just wouldn't let me enjoy it if I was
Chris
trying
goes to work.
watch it. He would just come in and talk shit.
Same.
Chris goes to
the whole
work.
time.
I can do what I
Samesies.
want.
Oh my gosh. Well, if you guys have shows that we should watch, or you have crazy in love suggestions or stories, oh my God,
stories.
please. You have nothing else to do. Write in your stories Tell your friends
Ask
to
your
write.
friends.
Yeah.
Ask your parents.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yes. We love historic facts.
Awkward.
I want parent bad dating stories, please.
They're so-
Please. You're quarantined with your parents. Ask them what's up.
Exactly. And you can send them to our one-stop shop of a website. It's myworstdatepodcast.com. Thank you guys for continuing to listen, and we hope we're bringing you some cheer during these random times, and we love you so much.
Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media podcast.